Why, hello there. It's been a while since I did anything about Rick and Morty. Uh, I was busy the last week, with this celebration involving a turkey dinner. I was actually not in Florida, so yeah. Got quite a few things to talk about. Okay, first off, I was kind of getting very annoyed at the second meta episode. I mean, after the train episode, I thought it was brilliant. Just leave it there. You don't need a sequel. Dan Harmon thought the otherwise. Yeah, he basically did the old Hollywood thing. If it worked once, do it again. And again. And again. And again. And again. And again. I mean, it was nice to see Paul Giamatti's story lord come back, but wow, I was kind of really out of this episode pretty quickly. Haven't figured it out by now. I'm actually talking on my iPad. Interesting enough, I'd like to do a complete live stream, but YouTube keeps changing its rules, so I can't really do a live stream. Just to let you know what's going on, I believe it's 17-10 USC over Utah with 24 seconds in the second quarter. That's how live this is. Don't worry, I will get to the World Cup soon. I just said I was getting kind of really annoyed. I mean, probably one of the funniest things has to be a retcon. Yeah, by the way, I'm gonna have to go over it. The self-referential six, probably the best part of the whole episode, because everything else is just simply a repeat. By the way, here's the twist: there's no sixth member. It also led to retcon, because after all, I mean, he was always the best thing of the entire episode, and always will be. He was always Rick's friend. He was always Morty's friend, and always will be. Also, the fight between Storylord and, I guess, Rick, our Rick. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. I do like the fight, including the fact that Storylord wanted to be more interesting in the end. Well, he ends up dying. I also love the fact that his final quote to his creator is like, "You failed me." And his fat creator is like, "No, I failed you." Basically repeating exactly what he just said. It also basically shows what a lot of producers do is they often say, like, I want something to be like the Great Gatsby. And of course, nobody ever read The Great Gatsby. I love the fact they brought up the Canterbury Tales. Yeah, most people who reference it never actually watched it. It's like The Handmaid's Tale. Nobody who ever actually referenced The Handmaid's Tale ever actually read the book. It's a huge conspiracy theory. So, I mean, I love that people often reference it on, well, basically anywhere. As this female oppressed society. In reality, it's about the New World Order. Also, the fact that Storylord's death, being smothered by a Rick plush doll you'd probably see at a fair, like, say, the South Florida Fair, which will be next month. And the fact that the hair is, well, the wrong color. As I said, the problem with the episodes is something I've seen over and over again with Rick and Morty. It's just one of those things, like, I always love the fact he's like, why don't you go back to being a classic episode? And how sick he is of people saying that. Which brings me to the next one. Another classic episode from the first two seasons. I love the fact that in episode 8, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at the TV right now. Utah just dropped an obvious touchdown. Yeah, that's how live we are. So I'm pretty sure if you're watching this on Saturday, you'll be wondering what the hell I'm talking about. And the fact that the entire episode 8 is about Rick dealing with these 1990s supervillains from basically Saturday morning. Well, let's see. Utah scored a touchdown. So they tied the game with 2 seconds to go before halftime. Yeah, we're pretty live right now. Let me get back to it. As I said, this was probably going to be a Facebook Live if I was going to do it. I figured, screw it. I'm going to be on YouTube. I might as well. And this episode, once again, goes about the 1990s. It actually had 2 very funny deaths in succession. Let's see here. First off, we had Cookie Magneto. A guy who literally controls cookies. And I love how Morty tries breaking down. It's like, well, what is your superpower? It's like, cookies really just a construct. Is it the ingredients of cookie? Because sugar. Sugar's in everything. That'd be quite dangerous. And this brings me up to one of the funniest episodes ever from Garfield and Friends from the 1990s. A character that was voiced by Mark Hamill called Curd Man. Please look it up. It is hilarious. The episode basically lampoons the X-Men series from the 1990s. And it's quite out there. It absolutely makes fun of the fact that, well, they always have to keep bringing up the ante to the point that you actually create villains you can't actually defeat. Because the writers have to keep making it where there's some bit of conflict. And of course USC just had a fumble. They fumbled it down to their own 2, but luckily halftime came, so they didn't bail out by the clock. Yeah, unfortunately, live events always keep hitting here. What was I going to say about, and my favorite part is how Curd Man, just everything about it is hilarious. And it just kind of brings you back to Cookie Magneto. And the fact that the conversation ends with basically Cookie Magneto being melted. And then came Mr. Calypso. Basically looks like the alien guy from the Flintstones. And the big thing is he called him drunk. So Rick immediately goes to therapy. Well, he actually doesn't call it therapy, so he doesn't have to pay for it. And he decides to basically drain his cosmic energy right in front of Dr. Wong. And my favorite part how his death ends up being is the fact that she asks him, like, is there any confidentiality except for murder? And Rick's immediate response is, oh, Mr. Calypso's fine. He immediately decides at this point that he's not going to deal with any more of these 1990 villains, which leads me to another problem. What's up with Dan Harmon's sexual fetish list? How did golden showers suddenly show up? Yeah. Urine master. Ugh. Where do I start with this guy? Yeah, I really don't want to see pee. Sorry. It's one of those few things I don't really like to see. And this guy does nothing but squirts pee at everything. Which is weird because South Park actually did an interesting episode on it involving a water park. I don't like the idea of a super villain who just does nothing but pees on everything. Piss master. Ugh. I think that's actually his real name. And of course, my favorite part is that Jerry, for some reason, decides to grow a pair and gets into a fight with him. So Jerry ends up picking a fight with him, and the fight goes viral. Jerry ends up winning, humiliating Pissmaster. And because the universe has to set itself correctly, Pissmaster immediately commits suicide. You can't lose to Jerry Smith. Nobody is allowed to lose to Jerry Smith. And then Jerry Smith immediately gets into the Eternals of Rick and Morty. Oh god, that film was bad. If you're forced to Disney Plus and you have to watch the Eternals, my advice, smash your TV and immediately cancel your subscription to Disney Plus. And he immediately gets an orb, and the first thing he does, he decides to take on a convention of space Hitlers. That's Hitler from every single possible scenario. Like, there's a crab, I think there's a praying mantis Hitler, there's an ape Hitler. And my favorite part is that one of them actually describes, it's like, what is the enrollment here? You know, this is Hitler. We're basically very discriminative to begin with. And as soon as Jerry crashes the party, the first thing is like, exterminate him! And of course, Jerry ends up blowing up the planet because for some reason Rick gives him a planet-destroying ray. I don't know why, he just does. Jerry's first instinct was, I really hope I didn't kill anybody who's not a Hitler. And lucky for him, nobody outside of people being Hitler was killed. And of course, Rick finds out the eventual demise of Pissmaster, which leads me to the other problem. His daughter is irreprehensible. The fact she ends up bashing him on her own podcast. I'm sorry, you're doing that to your dad, and your dad dies. It's on you. You're a good part of the problem. I'm sorry, it's just what it is. So Rick ends up deciding, hey, I got a great idea. I'm going to take up Pissmaster's reins. And he goes around the universe saving people, helping people out, and eventually planning on the perfect demise. So that Pissmaster's entire repertoire will forever be preserved. His legacy forever saved. And I love the fact that Jerry is forced to recruit him. Now, of course, Jerry does not initially know that this is Rick. He immediately thinks it's just Pissmaster himself. Eugene Piss. That's his real name. And of course, this gets Jerry kicked out of the Eternals when they find out who Pissmaster really is now. This is a classic episode. I particularly love it. I love the reckless violence. I love the great, great humor set in here. It's really a good episode here. Although I did not like the idea of Dan Harmon once again throwing an asexual fetish. Because, yeah, they actually say a golden shower in this one. That's the only thing I really didn't like. Okay, I guess we can talk about the other thing. Yeah, there's a World Cup going on. It's amazing. Out of the teams that have won 4 or more World Cups, there's only one left. Brazil. Italy didn't make the tournament. Germany found its way out of the tournament after losing to Japan. And then criticizing the fact that Japan somehow got a goal that should have been disallowed in a game they weren't in. Sorry, Germany, you should have beat Japan. If you had tied Japan, you would be going into the next round, but you're not. Sorry to bring it up. I know Uruguay also won a game today, another 2-time winner, and they're also out. So you look at it, there's only 2 multi-time champions still left. Let's see here. France, who's the defending champ. Sorry. Argentina, and the aforementioned Brazil. There's also two other former winners still in it, Spain and England. So we'll see what happens with them. The interesting part about Spain is they actually were kind of in a tank situation. You know, who would you rather play? Croatia or Morocco? If you lose, you play Morocco. On top of that, you eliminate Germany. This is a case where you might want to tank the game. Because let's face it, Morocco still got a very good team. Don't get me wrong, very good football team. But unfortunately, yeah, you're not Croatia. Croatia has finished twice in the top four since the turn of the century. Let's see here. In Japan and Korea, it's 2002, they finished in it. I'm sorry, no, it was not that one. In France, they finished in the top three. Yeah, sorry, I got my World Cup wrong. And of course, you know, they against France in the last World Cup finals, they finished second. So, you know, Morocco doesn't have that resume. And considering that Croatia has more recent success, why wouldn't you want to play them? In fact, I'm surprised the coach didn't go out there and say, you know what, if the ball's close to our net, accidentally kick it in. We get a much easier opponent here. I guess now I gotta come up to the obvious problem. Yeah, tomorrow the Netherlands plays the United States. As you know, I'm from the United States. And I hate to say it, the Netherlands is going to kill us. Yeah, football's too much into their blood. It's the top sport that people watch. Netherlands, they love a lot of sports. But football is number one. It's always going to be number one. The top club is obviously Ajax, but they have a lot of other good clubs out there. And unfortunately, yeah, they're going to kill the United States. Another unfortunate sign is the fact that two of the United States' best players are currently hurt. Sargent and, of course, Christian I'm going to butcher his name. Pulisic. And, you know, you also have to ask yourself this question. Would any of the United States players make the starting roster of the Netherlands? Don't forget, the Netherlands in 2010 made the finals. They placed top three in the next World Cup. So, yeah, it doesn't look too well. People keep saying this team is probably the weakest out of the recent Netherlands teams. Yeah, but unfortunately, the Netherlands is still the Netherlands. So I think they're going to move on. It is interesting, too, because it looks like we could have an England versus France quarterfinal match, which could be very interesting. Think about it. Over 1,000 years of warfare, and we're finally going to see a football game that means everything. The defending champs. The returning European finalists. Thank you, Italy. You made sure that England is only going to be the finalists. Too bad you couldn't make this tournament, but hey, what happens? Happens, right? I really have to say this. Portugal and, I think it's Spain I said. Portugal and Brazil better get their acts together. Because now you're in this spot where teams can actually eliminate you. You have one bad goal, and you can't score one, it's all over. In fact, if you have one bad penalty goal, oh, it's all over. We could actually see another rivalry game. Now, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. The two Cinderella stories from Asia. Japan and Korea. If you had told me that Korea would lose to Costa Rica, the weakest team in that group, I would have told you, fine, they're going 0-3, they're going to be the worst team in the tournament. They'll be ranked the lowest. Because no way do you think that Germany and Spain would lose to them. They lost. I told you, Spain would have been better just tanking. But guess what? Germany didn't have that option. And so all of a sudden, here we go. They're in the knockout round. Today, Portugal loses to Korea. Don't forget, Australia is still around. Australia's national sport is not soccer. It's really far down, actually. And rugby's king. Australian rules football is also, well, I guess we'll call it queen. They love their cricket, by the way. Swimming. They're still around. Let me see if I can get the bracket up here.